Question 4 looks a little bit different. It's the same type of question as question 3, where we're doing adding or subtracting, but it has this little equation thing. We'll talk about that in a minute, but let's go ahead and add these together so we can know what we're doing. So with this one here, we're going to take this x plus 7 and we're going to multiply it right there. And we're going to take this x minus 5 and we're going to multiply it right there in the top. So we're doing the same thing as before, and we're going to smush our denominators together to be that. So really what we're really focusing on is our numerators. So let's rewrite that. I'm going to put this over here. We have x plus 7 times negative 2x plus 1. And then I have 3x plus 4. Always use parentheses when you're distributing, and x minus 5. So let's just be very careful with our terms. So it'll be negative 2x times x, negative 2x squared. X times 1, that's going to be x. 7 times negative 2, negative 14x. 7 times 1 plus 7. Same thing over here, 3x times x, 3x squared. 3x times negative 5 is minus 15x. 4 times x, 4x. And 4 times negative 5 is minus 20. This is a plus between them, so we'll put that plus there, and then now we can combine our like terms. So let's look at what we have in common. We have negative 2x squared and 3x squared. So negative 2 plus 3, what does that equal to? That's equal to 1. So that's going to give you 1x squared. And then we have the other x's. So we have a lot of x's here. We have 1, negative 14, negative 15, and positive 4. You may want to use a calculator for that to verify that your numbers are being added correctly. So 1 plus negative 14 plus negative 15 plus 4. And I'm getting negative 24. So that's going to be my coefficient for the x term. So I'll have negative 24x, so minus 24x. And then finally, we can add those two numbers at the end. We don't need to, I mean, you can use a calculator if you want to, but it's a little bit easier to work with. So 7 and negative 20, 7 and negative 20, that's going to give you negative 13. And that's just going to get put over your denominators, which is x minus 5 and x plus 7. So in a problem like this, when it says, what are the values of a, b, and c that make this equation true? Well, this is this part of it. So the a, b, and c values are just numbers. What are those numbers? Well, the coefficients. So this is going to be your a value. That's 1. There's your b value. And there's your c value. Now you could, if you were savvy enough with Desmos, you could figure out, which one of those is actually going to work. So if you want to see how we can use our graphs to help us, it's a little bit more work, but it's doable. So we would do negative 2x plus 1 over x minus 5. And then we do plus fraction bar 3x plus 4 over x plus 7. So we look at that graph. Let me zoom out a little bit. And then we look at my choices. So I have ax squared plus bx plus c. And then I'd go over here and do x minus 5 and x plus 7. And you can play around with the numbers all you want. You can add sliders if you want, kind of see what happens. This might be very time consuming, but you can at least check our numbers here. So let me make that a1, since we know that that is 1. So we'll get rid of that. Our b, we're going to make that minus 24. So we'll get rid of that. And our c, we got negative 13. And you can see how those line up perfectly. So we actually have a way to get our answer, but trial and error is going to be very time consuming for this one. So I'd recommend doing this one by hand.